these big circles of these Satanists around an altar, where the people, sometimes in hooded, what do you call them? They were wearing these long cloaks that were brown with hoods, and they'd be in a circle or two circles, one inside of the other, by the altar, where there'd be live children and sometimes babies. So, and that would happen at night. I saw people get stabbed and start bleeding, and it would be dripping to the floor. It was children. The youngest I ever saw stabbed, I'd say he was about younger than 2 years old. And then there were several that were 2 and 3 years old. I can't imagine how anybody got away with that. The kid disappears. Don't detectives come try to figure out what happened?
If humans evolved from apes, then why do apes still exist? If Neil Armstrong was the first man on the moon, who took the famous photo of him stepping onto it? NASA, one of the most advanced space agencies, somehow lost the original recordings of the moon landing. Lost them. One of humanity's greatest achievements, gone. How? And if walking on the moon was so easy in 1969, why haven't we gone back? Why did 56 countries, rivals, enemies, superpowers, all agree to one thing? That no one can freely explore Antarctica. What's there? What are they hiding? How did ancient civilizations, without modern tools, build structures so perfect they still can't be replicated today? Why do Egyptian artifacts show images that look like spacecraft? Why do dragons appear in every ancient culture, across every continent, and even in the Bible? Coincidence? And why is there a connection between the pineal gland, the so-called third eye, and the pine cone symbols found in ancient Egyptian art? Why is the entertainment industry obsessed with symbols linked to demons, secret societies, and occult rituals? And in a world so advanced, so intelligent, so scientific, why are we sicker, sadder, and more controlled than ever before? Ask yourself.
Child participant in DARPA's Project Pegasus, which was the U.S. time-space program at the time of the emergence of different forms of time travel in the U.S. defense technical community. It's been concealed from the American people that time travel existed as the secret twin, essentially, of Project Manhattan, the atomic bomb project. Because at the time that Project Manhattan was being formulated, and some of the world's leading physicists and engineers were being settled in Los Alamos, New Mexico, to develop the atomic bomb, Nikola Tesla's papers from his apartment in the New Yorker Hotel in Manhattan, New York, that had been seized by the War Department upon his death on January 7th of 1943, were forwarded by the president from the National Archives to Los Alamos, and they're still there. Nikola Tesla's papers were never lost. 25 years later, by 1968, the U.S. defense community had pioneered Tesla teleportation, which is the capability to open up a vortal tunnel in time-space through which somebody can pass. And by the fall of 1970, had found a way to adjust the time of the arrival of the individual via teleportation, backward or forward in time. So I was brought in to Project Pegasus as a child participant officially in the fall of 1969.
The apocalypse is closer than you think. There's a book that warns our fate's on the brink. Saint Malachi in Rome one night saw future popes in ghostly light. He wrote their names from first to last, a line of rulers bound by past. 112 he did proclaim, each with a cryptic Latin name. And when the final pope shall fall, the world will crumble, doomed to all. That final name, it's known today. Pope Francis leads but fades away. His health declines, the signs appear, and now the end may soon be here.
There has been perpetrated upon us the most heinous crime against humanity, and it goes so far back that you can't blame any of the administration because they are not a government. They are the United States Corporation. The U.S. government incorporated as a for-profit commercial enterprise in the Legislative Act of February 21st, 1871, 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419, and chartered a federal company entitled United States, i.e. United States, aka U.S. Incorporated, a commercial agency originally designated as Washington, D.C., in accordance with the so-called 14th Amendment, which the records indicate was never ratified. The United States government is a foreign corporation with respect to the state. 19 Corpus Juris Secundum 541, location of United States. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. Secretary of the Treasury of Puerto Rico was appointed receiver over the bankrupt United States in the Reorganization Plan number 26 in 1950. Title 5, United States Code, Section 903, Public Law 94-564. The Secretary of the Treasury of Puerto Rico, Title 27, Code of Federal Regulations, Section 251.11. The title, Secretary of the Treasury, is a euphemistic abbreviation of the act.
Yeah, that work? That's why they don't want you to speak Creole. You figured out the whole shit. For example, they told you that Chicago, right? Oh, it was the so-called Haitian was the founder. He was no founder. He don't find nothing. You were born to that. He didn't find nothing. How you a founder? You find civilization. No, you were born to that civilization. Now, people walking around say, yo, I'm foundation, man. I'm foundation, man. These Haitians out here, or these people, these Jamaicans, are you kidding me? But this is how they love to do it, to keep us divided and to hide the truth from us, let alone these people doing this shit have no history. They don't know nothing about nothing. For example, every single time you hear the word Illinois, you really think you're saying Illinois? It's Creole. When you hear Illinois, it's Creole. It means Île, Li, Noir. That means his island is black. Is that how you always see they depict these indigenous people? Tar. Tar means noir. Tar. That's why all Tartaria have, that's why they call it Tartaria. Tar means noir. So when you say Illinois is a Creole, it means Île, Li, Noir. You said Illinois because you anglicize it, but you don't speak Creole. You don't know. It means his island is black. You're saying Detroit. It's Detroit. It's Creole. Detroit. 2 and 3. Creole. That's why they don't want you to know that this is what the original language of the people is. They're confusing you. Now you talk about Mississippi. You have people talk about, oh, Mississippi Empire trying to make... This is all Creole. Missy means I am here. CP means so worse because it was war. Go looking at the situation between Mississippi and Alabama. This was the Ottoman Empire war. That's why I call Alabama. It is a Turk's word for Allah. That means the land of Allah. This is those two that was fighting between the Mississippi and Alabama, the river in between. This was the Ottoman Empire and the IT Empire.
A very different story. Even today, accounts still emerge, like this hastily shot video captured in 2005 off the Adriatic coast. This most recent sighting comes from deep-sea fishermen. The most ancient can be found in a desert left behind by a departed sea. These
Asher, with off-the-shelf navigation and life support systems bolted on, almost as an afterthought. You could think of it as the Model T of anti-gravity vehicles, an industrial dune buggy, or crude hot rod that can get you to Mars in a few minutes. In this version at least, first-class seating was still a way off.
The most complicated aspect of the ARV to Mark seemed to be the pilot's control system.
The sphere itself appears to be a kind of a domed arrangement where you have a number of fiber optic leads that come into the sphere, and for each one of the 48 capacitor arrays there's a series of sensors that are then used to sort of relay information to the individual plates. And so then on the bottom of this you have a bowl that moves around and can be used to convey the commands of the pilot in terms of what he wants to do in terms of shaping the field around the vehicle. And right in the center of that bowl is a kind of laser diode that sends a laser beam up into the underside, the inside of this sphere. And so as the bowl moves, that laser is sort of scanning around on the inside of the different sensors that are responsible for each of the capacitor sections. Then there's a series of relays that'll open up and close and let a certain amount of energy in, or prevent it from going in. And when it's dead center, it means that all of them get the exact same amount of information. You just go straight up. If you want to bank to the right, then you bank this to the right. It sends the laser signal over to the opposite side of the dome, and it says that the opposite side of the craft is going to get more energy, so it banks in that direction. It's kind of like in a helicopter, in the swash plate of a helicopter. When you want to bank to the left, you create more deflection in the main rotor on the right side so that it begins to bank to the right, or bank to the left, excuse me. So it's kind of the same principle.
This synthetic vision system uses the same kind of technology as the gun slaving system they have in the Apache helicopter, except in this case you have two cameras, and it picks any pair of the cameras in that pattern of 6 that are around the circumference, including the one on the top. Whichever pair most closely matches the orientation of the pilot's head. So if he wants to look behind him, he can pick a view in that direction. The cameras slew in pairs, and he has a little screen in front of his helmet, and it gives him an alternating view. He has like a little set of glasses that he wears, and in fact you can actually buy a 3D viewing system for your video camera now that does this same thing. And what it does is it uses a beam splitter which sends part of light one way and then part of it at a right angle and offsets it by about 6 inches. And then it has an electronic shutter in there that uses these like a liquid crystal type material that darkens and becomes transparent at intervals of about 1/60th of a second or a 1/30th of a second. And so the cameras, as they're looking around, are giving him a right-left view. And the goggles, the things that he's wearing, he has 2 little projection screens inside his helmet, and they both project, well, 2 cameras, but 1 projection screen. And the glasses have that special blocking device that allows one eye to see and then the other eye to see, and at the same time the cameras are projecting right view, left view, right view, left view, but they're doing it at like 30 frames a second. And so when he looks around, he has a perfect 3D view of the outside, but no windows.
The truth behind the black hole theory.
This guy, his name's Maxwell Shikumbutsu, praised from Zimbabwe. He has created a generator that does not use any power source. So this generator basically creates free energy, using frequencies from the atmosphere. And this one generator can power like 300 homes. These 2 scientists guys went out there to test it and stuff. And they're like, yeah, it's legit. And they're like, how did you know how to build this? And he says that when he sleeps, he gets revelations from and visions from God of how to create these things. He says this is how he told me to make it, and he made it. But this dude obviously has a target on his back. He's been imprisoned in Zimbabwe multiple times for just different things. He came to the US at one point and he was poisoned and almost died, and then fled back to Zimbabwe. He cannot get any of his patents patented, because the patent's description says that if it defies physics, it cannot be patented.
The Earth is flat, and this is why your GPS is lying to you. And I've got a 2,000-year-old secret to prove it. Stick around, because by the end I'll show you how to spot this lie using nothing but a sunset and your phone. Spoiler, you'll never trust Google Maps again. Ever noticed how flights from Chile to Sydney take 20 hours but should only take 12 on a globe? Or why you can see the Chicago skyline from 60 miles across Lake Michigan, when it should be 1,500 feet below the horizon. The math doesn't add up at all. Here's the kicker. Ancient Greeks knew the Earth was flat. They used sundials and constellations to navigate oceans, no curvature needed. But suddenly, in the 1900s, textbooks started pushing this spinning ball nonsense. Why? Follow the money. Satellite companies, space agencies, globe manufacturers, they're all cashing in on the lie. The Earth isn't a planet, it's a plane, and we're all living on a giant, motionless disk. Think I'm crazy? Let's talk flight paths. On a globe, a direct flight from Santiago to Sydney would cut through Antarctica. But guess what? No commercial flights do that. They all detour north, adding hours. Why? Because Antarctica isn't a continent. It's the ice wall rim holding our oceans in. Try finding a non-stop southern hemisphere flight. I'll wait. Let's get practical. Grab your phone tonight. Film the sunset. When the sun dips below the horizon, zoom in, watch it pop back up. On a curved Earth, that's impossible. It should vanish forever. But on a flat plane, the sun's just moving out of sight like a car driving away. You're welcome. Or check this. Stars don't change at all, whether you're in Canada or Argentina. Polaris, the North Star, is always right where it should be. On a spinning globe, southern skies should have entirely different constellations. But nope. Same stars, same rotations. Explain that. Neil deGrasse Tyson. If your mind's racing, good. This is just 1% of the rabbit hole. Want the rest? Tap over to our page and smash play on the 10 experiments that shatter the globe myth. And hey, send this to your friend who still thinks Elon Musk's rockets are real. They'll either owe you a coffee or block you. Either way, win-win. Stay woke, stay skeptical, and always zoom in on sunsets. The truth's hiding in plain sight. Oh, and that ice wall? Antarctica's just the rehearsal. Wait till you hear about the dome.